And so one of our races going on here locally, we talk about getting involved in politics is one of the key things you can do, as in the city of Kyle. And we had some of our viewers called me up and said, we've got this gentleman that he has not ran for office before. He is the real McCoy. He is running for the mayor of the city of Kyle. You got to have him on. And Graham said, I'd love to come on. So Graham Mendel is here with us tonight. And Graham has got, we're going to talk about the website and talk about where you can go there. And you can call in tonight, so get the phones ready, 512-754-0084. And call up your friends as well. Let them know that we are streaming live to you as we do every Thursday night. And then if they miss this, well, we can find us on the archives at SMTX TV. We'll have that uploaded for you later on tonight. And Graham Mendel for City of Kyle Mayor. What got you started? Why did you say, I want to go and put my face on a web page?
Well, Rob, the city is spending beyond what they have. That's the biggest concern. And past councils have placed us into $73 million of debt, and current council has added on another $3,060,000. And of that, they only had $1 million. And so we have $2,060,000 that the current council is going to have to figure out where we're supposed to get it from.
Now, what is the current population of Kyle now that with the latest census?
The latest census, Rob, has it just under 30,000.
So just under 30,000. And what do you figure the total debt is right now that you're at?
At the present moment, the total debt is $73 million.
So $73 million. So 30,000 across the board here. You know, that's a heck of a lot of debt per citizen of Kyle then.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things that I'm hearing a lot of people that are getting involved in talking about certificate of obligation, limiting the amount that the cities can borrow and what they can borrow for. What's some of the things that are out there right now that they have the obligations for the city of Kyle?
The biggest thing, $33 million was borrowed on the certificate of obligation for the changing of the feeder roads to one-way, and then also to help build the bridges. This was given to the state to move the time frame up 2 years. And the state was going to have to pay for it anyway out of our gas tax, so the citizens of Kyle are paying twice for the roads that were going to be built anyway.
Now, is the state ever going to pay you back for that?
No.
No. That's just, so you paid $15 million a year to bump this up, basically, then.
By 2 years.
By 2 years. Well, yeah.
And the $3,060,000 that the city council approved last Tuesday was for a joint project between Hays County and the city of Kyle for another state road, FM 150. It's going to be the bypass, so that instead of having to come up to the feeder road and then going down the feeder road to get 235, the bypass will actually bring you right to Center Street. And it is a state road that the county and the city are paying for instead of the gas tax money from the city.
Well, and you're going to have some people that would say, well, roads, we want growth, we want these things. And Kyle is congested,
Right.
I know this is a key thing, is that everything funnels through downtown Kyle right now.
Right.
How would you counter that with people to say, well, we don't need this kind of debt and that's not going to get us there? What would kind of be your argument to people saying that we need that in order to get us out of this mess?
My argument would be that if we would have used the debt that we already have to fix the city roads, the state would fix the roads that the state needed to fix. The only thing we accomplished was to move it up by 2 years. And being that, they would have been just now completing with the original projects. So instead of having roads with sidewalks for our kids to be able to walk to school safely on, we now have debt and not the ability to build the sidewalks for the roads that need them.
Okay. Well, one of the things that we talk about here is about getting involved and helping people out, and that's one of the. What have you found some good positives from once you said, I'm going to run for mayor, and you got out there and started meeting people? What was kind of some of the neat stuff that you found?
The coolest stuff that I found is the people that are actually excited to hear about the state of our city, and the people that want to learn and want to help. And there's also so many people that don't know what's going on, that when you do tell them what's going on, they just get the fire, and they love the support. They love the fact that somebody's telling them the truth.
And that's kind of neat when people start to get fired up about, city government. Sometimes it strikes me as it's kind of, isn't that nerdy? But it's fun to see people get fired up about, I want to go down to city council. I want to watch that on TV. I want to see what's going on.
Right.
I want to pull the curtains back. I always think of Dorothy and Oz, with Toto going over there and pulling the curtains back, and wow. So that's what they're up to.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat. And, well, how can people get involved with your campaign? How can people come out and help you? Now, I know, producer, go switch over here. We've got the Facebook page here, and, this is a great way. I know they can go to your Facebook page, Graham Mendel for Kyle Mayor, and like you and help you out. And you've been posting there for all the things that are going on. It's got all your information. You are an Eagle Scout. That is cool.
Yes, sir.
There you go. And
I had my Court of Honor when I was 13.
Neat. What'd you do for your service project?
My service project was installing handicapped accessible fishing ramps along East Yellow Breeches Creek in Carlisle Barracks, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It's an awesome trout fishing creek, and there was no accessible areas for those with needs to go fishing, and that was my project, was to provide two accessible areas so persons in wheelchairs or motorized scooters could have the ability to fish.
And, that's one of the things that I always find is interesting, is how people got started with community activism and being involved in the community. And, the Boy Scouts is always a great way to do that.
Very much so.
It's, the service projects are really neat, because I was out hiking here locally and I'll have that film for next week, where we had an Eagle project here locally, and I'm going to try to get in touch with them, because I always like that. Because don't you think that's important to have the youth in the community involved?
It is very important to have the youth involved. That's one reason why when I lived in Kansas, I was volunteering with Cub Scouts, and currently I'm a youth minister at my church. And the youth of our nation are our future. And without them being involved, what's the future of our nation?
And what are some of the things in Kyle that are there for the youth, and what's some of the things that are lacking that you think that you need to see more of?
There are very limited things for the youth in Kyle. There's no youth center to speak of, so other than youth groups at church, there's not much for them to get involved with. There's after-school activities, but a youth center would be an awesome place for the youth to come to congregate, a safe place for them to congregate. And I wouldn't necessarily say it would have to have a religious background, because religion isn't for everybody. It's primary in my book, but for youth today, they need a safe place to go. They need a place where they can go and not be judged by their peers, and have a place where they can go with their problems and somebody to talk to.
Now, Kyle is one of the fastest growing communities in the state, right? And
yes, sir.
You're rated, what was the number? I know it's up there in the top list. I always hear of...
If I remember right, it was 5th in the state of Texas.
In the state of Texas. And, that just puts you right up in there in the nation with the growth.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things that I find is that, when you have that growth, is trying to build a cohesive community.
Right.
And, Kyle now stretches all over the place. And what are you learning about, because you are out walking the neighborhoods, you're out meeting people, and are you finding anything different between the older areas of Kyle where people have been here for many years and the newer areas where people have only been here for a few years that are trying, and everyone's struggling with the mortgages, everyone's struggling with
right.
their finances? What are some of the things you're learning and getting out there talking with the people in the neighborhoods?
The biggest thing I'm learning, Rob, is the older community. I'll refer to it as Old Town, because that's what most of them refer to it as. Old Town doesn't want to see the community to get much larger than what it really is. They enjoy being the bedroom community. They also want to be able to get the amenities of a big city without having to get the amount of people required to have the same amenities. The younger population that are in the neighborhoods that are newer to Kyle within the last 10 years, they are the commuters. They do most of their shopping on the way home from work, and their primary concern is the traffic, the ability to get home quickly and not have to sit through 30 minutes of a stop sign. And it's amazing to me the differences between the older residents as well as to the newer residents. As it stands right now, 3 out of 4 residents of Kyle commute to a job outside of Kyle. And me personally, I would like to see Kyle become a self-sufficient city instead of just a bedroom community to Austin and San Antonio.
Well, and you now have the Seton Medical Center there, and there's the retail, but I think what you're looking for is also light manufacturing. You're looking for some things to center around with the medical, right?
Yes, sir.
And what are some of your ideas about ways that you can develop the business and the free market in the Kyle area?
Primary is we need to get the infrastructure so that the business is attracted to the areas that are open. The roads can't handle the traffic required by them. Secondly, the city needs to be willing to offer most likely 5-year property tax breaks, provided they need a certain level of employment, and that will increase the jobs for the city of Kyle, as well as hopefully sales tax revenue, as well as getting more people to move to Kyle and possibly stay in Kyle, spending their money in Kyle to also increase our sales tax.
Now, one of the things, you don't have a huge sign budget, do you?
No, sir.
Okay, and because I don't see Graham Mendel for Kyle plastered all over the place. So, but I don't think that's really important to you, is it? You want, I think you want to run a little bit different campaign, right?
Yes, sir, I do. I want to be able to prove to the city that if I can run my campaign frugally without spending a ton of money, that I can also run the city the same way to get the exact same thing done without the same costs that past councils have approved.
So it's kind of learning, and that's, I think, part of your strategy is getting out there and getting people involved.
Yes.
Word of mouth, and I've seen some pretty inexpensive campaigns. We had a mayoral race here a few years back where the incumbent spent $70,000. The challenger, who went into a runoff with her, spent about $6,000, and the other challenger that got about 20% of the vote, 25%, he spent $500. And that was one of the students here, and his signs were all on bed sheets and white sheets. So yeah, and I always think that's a challenge for someone to go up against the paradigm of we've got to spend money, we've got to have the signs,
right,
and getting out there and getting people aware. Now, today was the last day to register to vote. So
right,
if you haven't registered to vote, sorry, we've been telling you for the last few weeks, and we're going to have to wait until November. But if you still want to help, you don't have to be registered, but you can go out and find some people that are registered
correct,
and get them to vote, and Graham will be just as happy, I'm sure.
correct.
And now people can come to your website also, and there's a blog on here, and they can go to your blog, and they can also contact you through your website.
Correct.
And it's got some more information about you and for your contacts, and some of the things that are going on in the latest news. And if you want to call in tonight, we still have a few more minutes here. 512-754-0084. The phones are working. We checked them out earlier tonight, but and that's fine. You can also contact us on our Facebook page and leave a message for us there, and we'll also be able to ask Graham. What do you see for Kyle in the next 5 years? What's your vision in the next 5 to 10 years? Where does the city need to be?
In the next 5 years, the city needs to be at approximately 50,000 people at the current rate of growth. It needs to have more jobs. It needs to have more infrastructure improvements to handle the increased growth. And it also needs to increase its sales tax revenue. It needs to increase the property tax that is brought in by businesses. And we need to decrease the property tax for the homeowners, because as it stands right now, this year the city council has proposed a 7 cents increase to help start covering the budget. In the next 3 years, if nothing is done, they're going to have to increase it another 20 to 31 cents. And that's going to be harmful for the struggling families that are having trouble making the mortgage payments, and they're having trouble putting gas in their cars. So if we're able to attract the business and attract more people, then we won't have to have as big of a strain on the citizens of Kyle.
Well, and I think one of the things that people fail to recognize about Kyle is that, they see the new homes and they think, oh, we've got all these wealthy people here. But no, it's, when you look at the average household income for Kyle, do you know what that is off the top of your head? I know it.
I honestly don't know, but I'm going to guess it's right around 60,000.
Well, I think
it's if not less.
It's a lot less than that. It's a lot less than that, because I know from the food bank, the volunteering that we do there, that we service over in the Kyle area approximately 150 families a week to 200 a week, and really there's more of a need there in Kyle that we're seeing that's increasing. And I think the last figures I saw on that was San Marcos is about 30,000, and I think Kyle's at about 40,000, 38,000. And excuse me, for a household income, that's a lot for one one. You need two people, and everybody's working, and it stretches the families. It really does.
Very much so.
So, and appreciate that's looking at what you're going to need for those services. But you also talked about we need the roads, and we've got this debt that we've got over our heads that we've got to bring down.
Correct.
How do you see putting in the infrastructure to bring the businesses? How do you see servicing the families and also trying to get that debt paid down? Are those going to be compatible?
It's going to definitely be difficult. We're going to have to take a look at the current city budget and see if there are any places to trim the fat. We're also going to have to see where the current debt levels are as far as interest. If we were able to drop all the debt by 2% on $73 million, that's $1,480,000 that we could be saving just on the interest.
Just on your interest payments, if you could get that paid off and paid down early.
Correct. And the new director of finance, he has been phenomenal. He has found several miscalculations from the previous administration, and he's also found a builder that currently owes the city somewhere around $350,000 that if we're able to receive that, that'll help. I mean, it's just a small percentage of the entire debt, but $350,000 that the city didn't have would definitely be an assistance.
Oh, great. Oh, good. Well, Graham, I appreciate you coming on tonight, and please go to Graham's Facebook and to his webpage and get involved. Go out and help. And we'll go ahead and close out here because we're going to go to a video following this that was sent in from one of our local activists that ran for city council, and talking about the runoff and talking about getting involved in some of the things they have to go through. But I'm going to give you 30 seconds here to a minute. What do you want to tell the people of Kyle? It is the camera is yours.
To the citizens of Kyle, I am not a politician. I will never claim to be a politician. My cell phone number is 512-297-0928. I will listen to you, and I will always listen to you prior to making any decisions regarding the future of our city. That I can promise you. Thank you, and you have a blessed night.